Hello everyone and welcome back to Game Week 4 of the 2025-26 Slater and Gordon Championship, where you join myself, Ryan Sipple, alongside Liam Fitzpatrick for Nottingham Forest versus GBG Saracens. Let's go through the squads quickly before we bring you the action live. Starting with the designated home team being Nottingham Forest, coming off the back of their first win in 10 games. They have Gary Meakin, Aston Walls, Toby Maurice, Riley Priestley, Finley Cooper, Ben Rogers and Sam Rogers. And for GBG Saracens, one of the few teams this weekend yet to pick up any points, they have Aaron Ebanks, Avery Basinball, Fred Body, Jack Ebanks, Tommy Mickelson, Ollie Grafton and Adam Sevenoaks. How are you, Liam?
I'm very good, thank you. Good to be here.
It's good to have you. Give me your thoughts and prediction for this one.
I think this will be quite a interesting match. I think it'll be quite 50-50.
I certainly think so. Let's show you the live league table so you can see just how significant some of the results have been. Hull have been nothing short of sensational, not just in Game Week 4, but Game Week 3 as well. They've climbed off the bottom of the table. And looking at that, you would struggle to believe me if I said that in Game Weeks 1 and Game Weeks 2, Hull had 0 points. But they've gone on, I think, a 6 or 7 game unbeaten run now. And they have taken the accolade off of Teesside Steel, who were on a 31 game unbeaten run. Hull and East Yorkshire's 2-0 victory. About 10 minutes ago, sees them fall to defeat for the first time since, I think, September of 2024, which is fairly ridiculous. Nottingham Forest picked up their first win since Game Week 1, coming from behind to beat Altrincham by 2-1. And Manchester City also with a fantastic win earlier today over Norwich City. So GBG Saracens have a little bit of work to do. I think prior to the weekend starting, you would have had them in a position of a degree of comfort compared to some of the others, but looking at that, they're being drawn into those jeopardy spots at the bottom. And just for reference, those who finish in 11th and 12th will be relegated, but are invited to participate in the end of the 26-27 playoff taking place on Saturday, June the 6th. Give me a prediction, Liam.
For this game?
Yes.
I think Saracens are going to win it. I'd say maybe 1 or 2-0.
Yeah, I think you probably have to make them favourites, but I made Altrincham favourites when they faced Nottingham Forest earlier, and they proved me wrong on that one. But excited to get my first look of GBG Saracens in Game Week 4. And it's a fairly familiar shape and lineup, which I will go through once Jeff Lewis, our central referee, blows the whistle to kick proceedings off. Thumbs up from the keepers.
Get the post sorted.
Yeah, that certainly would help. And now we're ready to go. Thumbs up from Toby Maurice. Thumbs up from Fred Body. And we are officially underway. Nottingham Forest versus GBG Saracens in Game Week 4 of the 25-26 Slater and Gordon Championship. GBG Saracens line up with Fred Body, Tommy Mickelson, Ollie Grafton and Adam Sevenoaks. And Nottingham Forest have Toby Maurice, Ben Rogers, Finley Cooper and Riley Priestley. Some early pressure from the Gloucester Bay side.
Definitely putting that pressure on first minute.
It's such a cliche, isn't it? But the first goal of a game can sometimes be so important.
Absolutely.
And Ollie Grafton attempts an effort.
It's the difference between winning and losing, really, isn't it? That's first goal.
Yeah, definitely. Certainly towards the bottom. We was trying to work out, obviously, contrary to that, Nottingham Forest came from behind to beat Altrincham earlier I can't recall another time in recent history, certainly, where Nottingham Forest have been able to do that. And I've spoken to Ben Rogers and others, and they've always said there's been that kind of a mental block. When you go a goal down, you feel defeated. You feel like there isn't a way to get back into it. But that isn't the case. That isn't the reality. You need to kind of just put it to the back of your mind and treat the game as if it was 0-0 maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It's just having the right mindset, I think, positive. You go 1-0 down, you can try and get back in the game and not worry about it too much. That's the key problem with most players, just keeping your heads up when adversity happens.
Nice combinations between Grafton and Mickelson into the 180 of Adam Sevenoaks. Really nice triangles between those three attacking players. And on that occasion, just out of play for a goal kick. Rogers, not quite the clean contact he would have wanted. Out to Adam Sevenoaks, into Mickelson in the centre.
Bit heavy contact there. The Saracens ball.
A win for Nottingham Forest would put them onto 11, a point behind the pack in front of them. A win for GBG Saracens would take them onto 15, which, as we've said on the podcast recently, working it out across the last 5 or 6 seasons, mathematically has been enough to keep you up. There's never been a season in the last 5 years where you've needed more than 15 points to avoid both 12th and 11th, but it's so close at the bottom. I suspect you may need 16 or 17 this season to ensure you're not in one of those bottom 2 placements. Ollie Grafton attacks. Ollie Grafton scores not before the 2-on-1 is awarded in Nottingham Forest's favour. Tommy Mickelson and Ollie Grafton probably about 2 metres.
I mean, it was a really good set piece, but just unfortunate the gap there between the 2-on-1.
Exactly that. One thing we did see from Nottingham Forest earlier today is Steve Priestley, as the coach, doesn't shy away from switching things up. He had Ben Rogers in that central role for the first half, Riley Priestley in it for the second, and then rotated with the likes of Gary Meek and Aston Walls, who will be disappointed not to be starting this game, having scored that brace against Altrincham. But he is there as an option if and when they wish to use him. Strike at goal from Ollie Grafton. Back to Tommy Mickelson. Switches the play, or certainly intends to.
Just not quite getting that pace off that he wanted to.
No, it's you have to give some credit to Nottingham Forest. I think it's
absolutely
largely firefighting, kind of trying to be reactive rather than proactive, fragment those passing lanes, but
oh, that was risky. Ball's just gone.
Yeah, ricochets high. That combination, luckily, out of the way of danger. But that is the nature of the sport now. So much power can be generated. If one 180 meets another, it's almost inevitable that that ball lifts up. So a set ball will be contested between Tommy Mickelson and Ben Rogers. I was going to go on to say that for Nottingham Forest, I think they play a fairly counter-attacking style of football, that they will be happy on the back foot, absorbing pressure, but will be looking to capitalise if and when the opportunity arises. Nice pick off. This is a potential opportunity. I would have potentially liked to have seen Riley take that in reverse with him. Nice switch of play from Ollie Grafton. Adam Sevenoaks wide of the left-hand post. Never really had the shape. Never looked like it was going to go in, but a nice opportunity nonetheless, because Nottingham Forest could have broken away there But GBG Saracens turned defence into attack almost immediately to register almost probably the best chance of the game.
I think maybe an extra pass there would have finished it. But it's all about timing, getting that ball straight away. But he seemed to take his time a bit too much there. But maybe an extra pass across would have resulted in a goal.
Yeah, it's all about decision making, isn't it? Sometimes you have to be selfish, and other times it does benefit from that one more passage of play. That's a really nice switch of play from Ollie Grafton out to Adam Sevenoaks. It was slightly blindsided because Ben Rogers was in the way.
Yeah.
I think Ollie Grafton, on a couple of occasions in this game, has forced the effort a little bit too much, going for goal when the opportunity or the space isn't necessarily there to do so. So him to start to think about that decision making would be advice I would provide.
Front bumper is quite an important thing.
It's the most undervalued tool in the arsenal of these players, as Ollie Grafton once again forces an effort.
It's just a habit you've got to keep developing and developing, thinking about that front bumper all the time. That's what we tell our players anyway, just being ready for that pass.
Riley Priestley does guide it into the final third, but driving onto the ball, he had no options to really engage it beyond a flick backwards to Ben Rogers in the centre. Out to Sevenoaks, nice switch of play.
Well left there.
Starting to open up. I think they're trying to play football, these two.
Absolutely, it's definitely positive play being showcased.
I was going to say, I don't think I can see Avery Baz in ball, so I don't suspect he's present for today's action, potentially the weekend, and he's such an important player to them despite his age, being just 9 years old, the youngest player competing in the entire National League.
It's incredible.
It really is, isn't it? What age was you when you started National League football?
Goodness, I think it definitely wasn't at that age. It was probably 12, 13.
Yeah.
Before the strike forces were even a thing.
Exactly, and that's
completely different skill level.
And that's something we're seeing with this new generation. They're going straight into sport-specific chairs and strike forces, aren't they? So they have that timing, that technique, that awareness.
It takes a lot of practice, I can tell you that.
It's scary to think where these players will be in 10 years' time.
They're the future, and that's a very exciting future, I think.
Adam Sevenoaks so nearly finds that gap behind Toby Maurice. He's not punished on that occasion, but had Sevenoaks found a little bit more accuracy, it would have almost certainly been the opener. Toby Maurice, again, struggling with those goal kicks a little bit. Well left by Ollie Grafton. Scoreline on Court A, Leeds Dynamos 1, Altrincham 1. Here on Court B, Nottingham Forest 0, GBG Saracens 0, but GBG Saracens certainly the more attacking of the two, but nothing you would say is a clear goal scoring opportunity exactly 10 minutes in.
Yeah. Exactly right.
Tommy Mickelson into Ollie Grafton, flick to Adam Sevenoaks, doesn't have the power or
Pick
accuracy.
off there, could have been ready. Ooh.
Yeah, definitely. Again, we're talking about the front bumpers. That is those pick-offs. Fred Body, I don't think has yet touched the ball. I may be wrong, but I don't recall him having a single touch in the 11 minutes we've played.
I don't think he has, to be honest. I think this is the first time.
Finley Cooper with the front bumper pick-off. Blocked by Tommy Mickelson. It's a fortunate ricochet, finds its way to Riley Priestley, just lapsing concentration, sees it go out as he slams his armrest in frustration.
We've all had that before. Frustration. Front bumper back there.
It's much better. It all comes from those front bumpers, from winger to central player.
I definitely think it's going to be quite a back-to-back game, both ends. Both trying to attack as much as possible. Definitely end-to-end.
Ollie Grafton, he's had probably double digits attempts at goal in the 12 minutes we've played, but again, it's thinking about quality over quantity. Tommy Mickelson just completely unfazed there. Another young talent. The sky's the limit with him as well, as he wins a corner ball.
See how we're fair here.
Yeah, we're just underneath this corner kick in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. So we're right next to Adam Sevenoaks, who's getting ready to take. Again, Tommy Mickelson needs to be careful of his placement with Ollie Grafton, and he finds the gap. Front bumper just locked up by Ben Rogers and Toby Maurice. They have to maintain that concentration because Tommy Mickelson is going to flick it behind Toby Maurice. It's a little bit disappointing from Nottingham Forest. It could have easily been prevented, but Tommy Mickelson stayed alert, found the gap, and puts GBG Saracens a goal to the good.
It's quite unlucky there. Just has to be careful from behind.
Yeah, as I said, I think it was very preventable. And straight away, a double substitute for Nottingham Forest sees them shape up how they did in the second half against Altrincham, with Riley Priestley in the centre, Aston Walls on one wing, Gary Meakin on the other. It's a real switch up. Thing is with Nottingham Forest, or any teams around the bottom of the standings for that matter, you can almost accept when you're outplayed and there's this exciting, expansive football, but when the goals come through unfortunate mistakes or lapses in concentration, they're the ones that are hard to swallow.
Absolutely.
And the ones you look back on season's end to go, had that gone this way, had I done this that way.
It can haunt you if you know, it can really leave a stain. Again, I think it's about the mindset. I don't think you can look really at the past. What's done is done. You've just got to go on to the next game, and I think that's the key to it. Bouncing back from adversity and things like that.
Yeah, and they did that in their game against Altrincham, and immediately you can see them having a bit more attacking territory up the court. So maybe this new system, this new shape and lineup is one they'll opt for more often. Don't think 5 metres was observed at that goal kick. Tommy Mickelson. 15 minutes played. Forest 0, Saracens 1 as Gary Meakin. Strange intention there.
Great interception there, though. Great reading of the ball.
Yeah, definitely agree with that. I think I would have liked to have seen him just be a little bit more, capitalise a bit better.
Definitely.
Because it's going to come down to moments, isn't it, with Forest? They're not going to have a great deal of opportunities, but if and when they are presented, make Saracens. Aston Walls. Fred Body out of his box. into splits through the court from one side to the other. You can see straight away the kind of the high press that Saracens are looking to adopt to pen Forest back. It's not bad from Forest, actually. Immediately, Gary Meakin attacked Fred Body, who opted to control it. The secondary effort off the back wheel of the Saracens goalkeeper. Gary Meakin to take the resulting kick in. Not a great deal of clear options. Riley Priestley hugged by Fred Body and Ollie Grafton. Aston Walls unopposed at the back post, but he'll do incredibly well to fire it over to that alternate side. You'd probably say, Liam, this is going the exact way we would have predicted.
Oh, yeah.
GBG Saracens, the better of the two sides, just have that little bit more clinicalness and composure. But there's not a great deal of difference between the two sides.
Yeah, there's definitely potential from both sides. Yeah, Saracens are quite a young team, so they're always going to be developing, which is what you'd expect. So who knows where they're going to be in the next couple of seasons.
And that's probably the more damning assessment for Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest have been present in the National League for at least the last 6 years and have struggled at the bottom, finishing in the relegation zone of the last 5 or 6 seasons. When you're seeing a new side with young, hungry players playing their first ever season at National League level,
Incredible.
You need to be at that level at least.
Definitely.
But if this Saracens side sticks together, there's no telling where they can go in 3 or 5 years.
That's it. It's keeping the players together and not and having a project that can flourish.
We saw what they did in the WFA Vars qualifying day, where they just blew away other championship opponents. And they will be hoping to lift that Vars trophy on Saturday, May the 9th at the Derby Arena, when the Vars and the Cup conclude on the same day.
Exciting day of football.
It certainly is. You coming?
I think so, yeah, possibly. I'm not sure yet.
If you used to put your money on a Vars and Cup winner, where would you go?
I'd probably say Hull, maybe. Saracens.
If
No,
Hull have Tyler McClellan present,
yeah, that's what I mean.
you probably have to make them favourites based on what we've seen in Gameweek 4 so far.
Definitely.
GBG Saracens were fantastic, and obviously the Vars doesn't conform to National League classification rules, so they can play the likes of Avery Basinball with Tommy Mickelson. And then the Cup, where you put in your money?
The WFA Cup.
That's the one. Yeah.
I'm going to go Leeds and Teesside.
Yeah. You can't
just based off the form.
Yeah, you can't go far wrong with predicting.
And I think a different final, it will be quite interesting. Having maybe a different winner.
Completely agree. For those that don't know, the Cup format has shifted and changed this season, so the final that we've come to expect at the FA Disability Cup weekend will now see the Cup winner play the Premiership winner in almost like a Community Shield style tournament. So it would be nice to see another team at St George's Park.
But it's also another opportunity for some silverware, isn't it?
Absolutely. It absolutely is, and we've got 2 beautiful new trophies for teams to lift. Anyway, it's half time. Nottingham Forest 0, GBG Saracens 1. Thank you to all that tuning in to myself and Liam. We will be back very shortly for the second half. Just like that, we are back for the second half in this fixture between Nottingham Forest and GBG Saracens. You're joining myself, Ryan Sipple, alongside Liam Fitzpatrick for the action live. Give me your assessments from that first 20 minutes, Liam.
Solid performance from Saracens. They took their opportunity quite well and are 1-0 up. Yeah,
exactly that. It's going to come down to moments, isn't it? I don't think we'll ever see these two completely outplay one another. So I
think Forest would definitely be looking for an equaliser.
So when they made them substitutes, following that opener, taking Ben Rogers off and Finley Cooper and bringing on Gaz Meakin and Aston Walls, they certainly had more attacking intent. It's just, can they continue that in this second? Because I have no doubt Saracens will be looking to build on that very slender lead. Ollie Grafton's been everywhere so far this game. Too close on that occasion. And that's that inexperience coming through, isn't it?
Yeah.
The quantity of 2-on-1s that can be avoided. Sevenoaks needs to be wider. Grafton needs to be more central.
And I think definitely a bit more communication between them would definitely help.
Yeah, I agree.
Know where they are, and yeah.
Priestley down to Aston Walls, who lets it roll all the way back to Fred Body, who almost gifts an attempt to Aston Walls. Can they capitalise? Riley Priestley.
I don't think they set at the back post there.
Yeah, they're looking to go past Gaz Meakin, who's going to act as the screen, but it needs the power and the accuracy, which it didn't have. I think the difficulty with Nottingham Forest is, I don't know who their best dead ball specialist is. I think you need one in your team at least. Someone who can strike it so cleanly, generate that power.
Maybe the goalkeeper.
Potentially.
Yeah. I mean, he probably practices the most.
Yeah. Aston Walls, such a physical player, as his arm cushion falls off, so play does continue. Out for a corner ball.
Well worked there.
Yeah, he's a good player, Aston Walls, and I don't think it's a coincidence that the improvement in Forest's performances have coincided his return from Hull and East Yorkshire.
Absolutely. It's a good opportunity here for Forest.
Here it is. Aston Walls just lets that bypass him. Slight miscommunication. Now there's 3 Saracens players to the 1 of Nottingham Forest, so Aston Walls desperately back. I'm not quite sure what happened there. It's like they all stopped momentarily and GBG Saracens capitalised.
I think there's like some kind of invisible whistle going off.
It's exactly what it felt like. And that's that aspect I'm talking about. Those dead balls.
They're very important, definitely.
Never really threaten Saracens. It's very reliant on Aston Walls in the dribble. And he's very effective at the dribble, but...
Well worked again. Another corner here, Forest definitely capitalising.
Let's see how Gary Meakin does from the dead ball corner. I think this could be a really good opportunity. I'm looking at that 180 of Aston Walls, but that's why Ollie Grafton is just trying to position himself. It's disappointing that from Gary Meakin. Doesn't have the accuracy nor the power, and now once again Saracens create the overloading attack. Nice pick off from Ollie Grafton, but Adam Sevenoaks not there to capitalise. He didn't necessarily have the power from the front bumper, so any advancement more centrally from Sevenoaks would have been a sure 2-on-1.
It's just his position in there, anticipating that ball. That's the one of the important things about playing is anticipating where the ball's going.
And again, I think that can be aided by better communication between the team. As Ollie Grafton has an attempt. He's had several this game. Hasn't quite been able to.
I'd love to see some heat maps, that definitely.
Hopefully it's something we can introduce.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That our listeners and viewers won't necessarily see, but we have functionality for replay. I've got like a big tablet to my side, which hopefully in time will be able to present things like stats and heat maps and possession, attempts on goal, etc.
Yeah, because we don't really calculate like shots, do we, in games and goal kicks and.
I think what I would
like
is expected goals, which has become a huge thing in the running game.
Yeah, I think that'd be a great.
Based on what we've seen in this one, I think GBG Saracens have had easily double digits in terms of shots. Their XG is probably 2 or 3. I know it's based on the more clear-cut opportunities, which they haven't had a great deal of. Gary Meakin into his 180, strikes an effort goal bound, blocked by Fred Boddy, and now Ollie Grafton stays in reverse, flicks it back to Fred Boddy. Disappointing as Gary Meakin cuts it out. It's end-to-end stuff. Doesn't necessarily have the quality, but it is a very entertaining game.
Forest have just got to keep it up and really make one of their set pieces work, and they'll be back in it.
Exactly.
But Saracens are defending really well.
They are.
And they're well positioned and well worked defensively.
I don't know if it's instructions from the Saracens coaches or it's just the way that the game is unfolding, but it doesn't look like they're trying to score a second. I think they're happy and comfortable with this 1-0 lead, and they're looking to protect that as to not risk the stability of their defence. But that is inviting this possession from Nottingham Forest. Adam Sevenoaks over to
great ball.
Ollie Grafton, who has yet another attempt at goal.
So unlucky there. I think maybe a pick-off could have helped. Back across.
Give Ollie Grafton a season or two competing in the Championship to find his rhythm, to understand and grasp the pace of the division. He will be a clinical finisher.
Absolutely. He says he keeps practicing and developing.
Because
I have no doubts.
whilst the final action hasn't necessarily come off, he's always in such good positions.
The intention's definitely
Absolutely
there.
It is. Aston Walls would like to have seen a pick-off there back to Riley Priestley at the first time, not the second time, because you can see how condensed it is now. Over to Gary Meakin, who attacks that back post, but has a little bit too much pace.
Substitution, I think, for Saracen.
Yeah, Adam Sevenoaks off. Aaron Ebanks on. I think he's been so isolated, Adam Sevenoaks, as kind of the high and wide winger. He hasn't seen a great deal of action, but as we've already discussed, I don't think Saracens are really trying to attack this game. I think they're happy protecting this current 1-0 lead, which, of course, is a risky thing to do in this division when...
Well, a bit of a hit on the back bumper there.
Yeah, free kick for Saracens.
Saracens definitely look comfortable now with their 1-0 lead. I think they might try and get second, but
it would certainly give them that safety net.
Got a great opportunity here.
Across the box, over to Aaron Ebanks for his first involvement in the fixture. Toby Maurice now advancing out his box. Riley Priestley dropping back off. There is still 10 minutes to play. So this game isn't necessarily out of reach for Forest.
Goalie just needs to be careful of that back wheel.
We go back to the manner in which they conceded, Liam, and they'll be so disappointed because beyond that, they've been very competitive, Nottingham Forest.
Indeed.
Can see the calls from the coach, Steve Priestley, to Sam Rogers on the sidelines, telling him to get ready, be ready to come on. I suspect in place of Gary Meakin. Ollie Grafton into the 180 of Tommy Mixon. Now potential break on. Again, I want to see Aston Walls take that up the court with him. And what could have been a really meaningful counter-attack turns into an indirect free kick for GBG Saracens.
There's a substitution, but I'm not sure.
Is the change I suspected would be made. Mickelson into Ollie Grafton.
Not quite sure what the intention was there. I think the pass across, I'm not sure.
Right, it certainly wasn't clear from where we're sitting.
No.
I think we see that a fair bit with Tommy Mickelson. He plays it off the bumper and then engages it in the dribble. Now he's locked up with Toby Maurice. Aaron Ebanks hovering on the edge. There's a gap there to be punished. Again, a really disappointing way to concede a goal. It's mistakes in the Forest defence, and GBG Saracens now have that 2-goal buffer and are surely going to get 3 points from this game.
I think there's a yellow card coming. Yeah, yellow card.
Yeah, Riley Priestley, a very fiery player, and that sometimes can boil over. You could see the frustration.
I can tell you I've been there.
Yeah.
Football does bring out a lot of passion, that's for sure.
It certainly does, and if you're Forest, again, they haven't been outplayed. They've matched GBG Saracens, arguably in this second half being the better of the two teams, but it's those small individual errors and lapses in concentration in the defence which has all but gifted Saracen this 2-goal lead. And as we've already discussed, that's more frustrating than being beaten 4-5, 6-0, outplayed.
It's knowing that you could have done better.
Exactly that.
But that's why you train, you keep training, you keep going.
Exactly, and
don't give up.
It can be a negative, or you can see it as a positive to say we are close. If we iron out those errors, we can be right in the fight. But this is a huge win for Saracens as Ollie Grafton, very heavy touch, invites Toby Maurice in. Maybe could have taken it into his 180, but they don't have to risk a great deal. They don't need to overexert themselves.
Managing the game now.
Yeah, exactly that. Aaron Ebanks is hovering on the edge of the box.
No, there probably might be another chance here, though.
Yeah, they've got
Saracens.
they've got that buffer now. I think it will stretch Forest slightly. Certainly, if Forest want to try and get anything from this game.
A double sub here now for Forest.
Forest likely to commit players forward in desperate pursuit of something, and that will inevitably leave gaps in behind for Saracens to punish. Front post, that's a really clinical goal. On that occasion, I wouldn't necessarily blame the defence of Nottingham Forest. I think it was quickly taken by Ollie Grafton, and Tommy Mickelson does brilliant to just guide it between Ben Rogers and Toby Maurice. A baptism of fire for Ben Rogers, who's only just been reintroduced to the action. Either way, it is Nottingham Forest 0, GBG Saracens 3, and a brilliant performance from them.
Absolutely. They definitely took the chances and made them count. I'd say the game's still undusted now.
If you look back to game week 1 of the championship, GBG Saracens lost all of their games. There was 5-0 defeat. There was a 9-0 defeat. Then they took that into game week 2. Some heavy defeats, the likes of Baggies and Leeds Dynamos, but they've been slowly improving. And if they're able to see this out, I believe this would register their most comprehensive victory in their history. But saying that, their history is all that of 4 game weeks, because they have never competed in the National League before. Adam Sevenoaks, who's just been reintroduced, has competed in the National League for many, many seasons for various different clubs, but looks to have found some real rhythm in this squad, as Aaron Ebanks, who observed a fairly lengthy break from the sport of Powerchair Football. He used to compete in the Premiership with West Bromwich Albion Throstles. So they've got those two kind of older heads, experienced heads, complemented by arguably one of the most exciting cohorts of young players anywhere in the country.
Yeah, the potential's off the charts, definitely.
I've said it several times on commentary and the podcast. I think in terms of ceiling, Tommy Mickelson's, his is the highest. The sky's the limit for him if he continues developing, as we've seen in the 4 game weeks. The one I like the most is Fred Body, but they're fairly conservative with his utilisation. And if and when they have enough points to ensure safety, I'd like to see them be a bit braver with his utilisation. Maybe try him in the centre, see how he does out wide, round him out as a player, but keep him as your predominant goalkeeper in the competitive games.
Maybe even play him out more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If that's something they wish to do, that would certainly...
It seems to be quite a thing that most teams do now.
He's very confident and he's a brilliant distributor of the ball.
But what kind of style of play they want to play.
Yeah, we have to always preface it by saying there's never an expectation that every team plays 4-out football.
Oh, no, of course not.
But if you have a 3-goal buffer or the game's all but a dead rubber, give it a go, trial, test, because that's how these players develop. And I know many of these players will have England aspirations, and you need to have a grasp of that system if you're to climb that ladder.
Yeah. I think having a healthy amount of matches helps with that as well. Obviously, if you're not playing, it's not really... When you're playing, you're getting the experience that you need.
Game time's so important. I think you're one of the perfect reference points for that, Liam. Obviously, you was competing with Greenbank in the Premiership, and you've since looked to rejoin Manchester United, and you've seen the impact it's had for them, and your own game for that fact.
Absolutely. It's definitely an interesting point.
It's the question I would ask you, or anyone for that matter. Would you rather be on the fringe of a title contending side in the Premiership, or a mainstay in a Championship contending side? It's
a fair question.
There's no right or wrong answer, because there's benefits in both.
For me, it's definitely having a good amount of play. Well, it's not just that; it's also helping the young players get more experience as well. It's not just about...
It's some exciting side at United at the moment, isn't it? With Mason and David.
There's definitely a future there, but no, a lot of it comes down to just my own decisions, really.
Of course. We're now 10 seconds out from the regulation time being played. Who's your player of the match, Liam?
I'd probably say Nicholson.
Yeah, he's been everywhere, hasn't he?
Absolutely.
I've really appreciated the efforts of Ollie Grafton. Didn't quite have the clinical edge needed to score himself, but always in really dangerous areas. But Tommy Mickelson has had such a calm head and weathered the storm of Nottingham Forest early in the second and has extended the lead even further. And they're going to come away with what looks like a 3-0 victory, their greatest ever win.
Well played, Saracens. Definitely a good game.
And that does conclude things. Nottingham Forest 0, GBG Saracens 3. A fantastic professional performance. They didn't have it all their own way, but they stuck in. They nullified any and all attacks from Forest and expanded their lead later in the second. Let's show you the live league table so you can see what that does for them. And you can see it's fairly significant. Takes them on to 15 points. So 2 above Manchester City, 3 above Hull and East Yorkshire, and a healthy 7-point margin over Nottingham Forest. And they've all played the same amount of games. Nottingham Forest a game more. So very good viewing if you're associated to GBG Saracens. Thank you to all that have tuned in to myself and Liam Fitzpatrick. I'll be up next on Court B for Hull and East Yorkshire versus Manchester City.